I think my point, the real point I want to get to is freedom exists only in our minds. Freedom is make believe, if you think about it. When you're a kid, you feel free. At least I did. When I was a kid, I felt, especially when I was playing and when I would imagine things and fantasize, and that's when you have a lot of freedom, you know. And even as an adult, I don't think I ever grew up, because to me this is fun. This is a game for me to make videos, to talk openly about things, to have friends and that you meet over the internet and everything. And I don't worry about, like, oh my God, there's danger in meeting people over the internet and all that stuff. I don't think about that because I'm free. But I know that freedom is make believe. See, that's when you are the freest, when you can engage in fantasy and play, and you can just go anywhere using the power of your mind to imagine. See, a lot of times I used to always fantasize about doing things, traveling, for example, going places. And sometimes when I think about something long enough, I say, well, why don't I do that? Why don't I actually go there? Like, I remember when I went to Scotland, the first time I went to Scotland, because I just went just this year. But I remember the very first time I went was in 2001, and I was at the bookstore, and I was buying books, and I didn't have any money. I'm thinking, I got my credit cards, and I'm thinking I'm going to run up my credit cards, and I'm going to be out of money soon. So I said, before I run out of money and become totally bankrupt, let me just do something crazy. I'm going to go to Europe. And that was the first time I had been to Europe. I'd always wanted to go to Europe. I'd always dreamed about it. And so I just went. And it was great. Because I thought, and the reason why I even picked Scotland and Edinburgh in particular, because I had a book, one of David Hume's books. And I said, yeah, I should go to Europe. And why not go to this place? Why not go to visit the hometown of David Hume? And that's exactly what I did. You know, first time I went, I didn't visit his grave, but the second time I said, I got to go back and visit David Hume's grave and have my little private conversation with him when nobody else is around. Because I went with everybody who went with me, and then I went by myself. That's when I made my video, which is, if anybody looked at my YouTube thing, you said video. But before that video, I sort of had a little conversation with David Hume, in my mind, in my imagination, because I'm not hallucinating, you know. But it's like that was the thing. It was like a saying thank you to him for helping me, to help me to think, to really question things, because I think that's the most important thing. You have to question our normal ways of looking at things. That's what I like about Einstein. Einstein, by the way, said that David Hume was the number one influence in his thinking. He listed him as the number one on there, on his list. Because and the reason why he said it was because David Hume got him to question things, to question old ways of thinking. Everything that we accept as being true, we just accept things. Somebody teach us things and we just accept it and we don't question it. And you have to question stuff. He started to question the things in physics, question Isaac Newton's theories, question all these other things. Is it really true? It's only when you question things that you can make discoveries and you can learn something. And I think for a lot of people, that's the biggest fear, is to maybe discover that maybe everything you've been following is false. Maybe everything you've been believing isn't true. You shouldn't be afraid of discovery. Just like Einstein said, the most beautiful thing that we can experience is the unknown. Don't be afraid of the unknown. You don't know what the outcome is going to be of your inquiries. You don't know when you explore what you're going to discover. You may suddenly realize that the things that you've been believing in are false. And maybe it's actually harmful to you. And maybe you should give it up. Or maybe you might change your mind. I still believe in God, but I still explore too. I ask questions. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And when you overcome your fear, that's when you really have freedom. When you really feel freedom. When you overcome that fear of asking questions, the fear of exploring. Don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's what's important. That's my message.